So today we are going to learn something about curriculum vitae and resume. So these two concepts and two documents are very important after you graduate and when you plan to study abroad or you want to get a new job. So you will be needing these two documents time and again in your entire career. So we'll first of all look at the difference these two documents have. Plus, we'll be focusing on resume because as technical engineers relating to a technical field, you will be needing resume much more than the curriculum vitae, that is CV. So first, coming to moving towards topic, before moving to topic, I would like to request you all, if you have a notebook with you or you can have word access so that you can actually type or write the parts we are going to discuss today. So first let me know whether you have with you the notebook or the word access so that you can type or write it. Okay, all of you? Okay, that's wonderful. Okay, we'll be writing it today. Definitely, as it would be your first effort. I don't know whether you have made your CVs and resumes, but I just take you all as fresh graduates, and in that endeavor, we'll be needing a first draft that won't be that much, polished as it's your first effort, but at least we could be able to make sense of how these documents look like. So first moving with the difference that is very important to know about. So what's the difference between a resume and a CV? What do they typically include? That means that they can vary. The parts, the organization that we are going to discuss may vary according to the purpose and according to the norms of any professional setting. But even then, they have some typical or they have some basic or fundamental parts in it. So while discussing CV is an in-depth document that can be laid out over 2 or more pages, while a resume is a general and concise introduction of your experiences and skills. So we can see by looking at these two definitions that a CV is a permanent, nearly static document, while a resume is something that we need to change, that we need to update or write anew every time we apply for a new job. So why is it so? Because they relate to a particular career or position that you are aiming to acquire. So each new time when you are applying for a new job, you will need a new resume. The previous or the old resume won't work here. So as such, a resume may have to be altered for each position, as I explained, that you are applying for, so as to emphasize those skills and experiences most relevant to the work, while a CV is a static document which contains a high level of detail about your achievements, a great deal more than just a career biography. So a CV won't include only the academic things you have achieved. It would also have a space for other publications, for your interest in sports or extracurricular activities. So it would be a comprehensive document. Okay. Further on the difference, a CV is a fairly detailed overview of your life's accomplishments, especially those most relevant to the realm of academia. So here is the main difference why I said that today's lecture would focus on resume, because a CV is a document that is acceptable or required in the realm of academia. Like when you are a researcher or when you are an academician and you want to apply or you want to study abroad, you would most probably need a CV. While as such, these documents have their greatest utility in the pursuit of a job in academia or research. So quickly moving along it, a typical CV for someone in the beginning stages of his or her graduate school career might only be 2 or 3 pages in length, while the number of pages depend on, your contribution or the years you have spent in that organization. So it can be 2 to 3 pages, or it can be or it can run into double digits, like 5 to 6 pages. You can imagine a CV may consist of. So in both CVs and resumes, information with sections is usually organized chronologically. Chronologically means the more recent first, and this the first thing, like for example, if you have done your matriculation, you will be providing your data regarding matriculation in the very end, and you will be providing your graduation data at the very start. So we'll be moving chronologically, means we will be moving along the timeline but in a reverse order, and that is called here like chronology in these documents means that you will follow a timeline. Okay, if you come to resume tips, what a resume look like or what is required regarding a resume. So looking at its language, because these documents are technical on one part, and their language decides your success, okay, in front of your potential employer. So the language part is equally important as the technical part. So what does it include? Your language should be specific rather than general. It should have an active voice rather than passive. Written to express, not impress. Like you are not there to use flowery languages and exaggerated examples. You have to just show what you have achieved. And articulate rather than flowery. Fact-based, that is quantify or qualify, written for people who can scan quickly. So moving along, if we come to the purpose of resume, I'm sure that by now you might have understood why a resume is used. It's used for a job that you are acquiring for the first time. So you have to make it anew. And for that, it helps you develop your resume's content and writing style. For maximum effectiveness, it is most important to understand how these are used. So why employers need resume? They screen applicants and determine whom to interview. Like your resume tells a lot about you. Moderator, can you please switch off the mics?
Yes, ma'am, you may continue, ma'am.
Okay. So your resume talks a lot about you, even then you are not in front of your employer. And resume speaks on your behalf. It is your first impression, and with that you have to make it in such effective way that you stand out. It's not only your resume that stands out, it's you that have to stand out, that has to have the way to interview. So you will have to make it your resume just wins a job for you, even when you are not there yourself. So your employer judge an applicant's communication skills, your extracurricular hobbies, and your interest in different jobs and skills, and understanding the specific job or career field requirements, like everything that you can make a sense of, that can match the job description, would be included in the resume. Okay, let's move. What you have to do in order to make a resume. Now here on, from this point, we'll be coming to write a resume ourselves. So the first thing that you are going to do, please keep this in mind, that invent your experiences and compile data about yourself. When I'll be asking you to write a resume, I'll show you a job description that you have to develop a resume for. And what you are supposed to do, you are first of all just going to brainstorm about your experiences and compile data about yourself. Like whatever you feel is relevant to the job description, I'm just showing you in a minute. Think in terms of the following categories. Now, how you can accumulate, how you can think of your experiences and data. You can have your academic background. You can think about summer jobs. internships, extracurricular activities, and volunteer work. For example, if someone have volunteered, this organization or this session, this conference, a 3-day conference, for example. So experiences like these can help you a lot, but you have to have this understanding that whether these experiences are related in any way to the job description. However, fantastic, but if they are not required by your employer, if they don't match your job description, don't put them there in your resume. It will rather have a negative impact. Okay, second, what you are supposed to do, analyze what you have accomplished in each experience. For example, you all have, attended, for example, an internship or a training, but your experience would be different. Your each like one's experience would be different in the way, like what you have made out of that experience. Though the training was generic, it was meant for all, but as a student or as an attendee, what you have learned from that training or what you have learned from that experience. So looking that into the scene, you are going to write about the your experience and what particularly how it meant to you, what did you achieve in it. Consider skills you developed and your level of involvement. What skills did you develop over there? And prioritize information and can be selective, highlighting what is most significant and relevant about your background in relation to your career field and needs of employers. So this is the second task you are going to do. And right now, we haven't yet started writing a resume. It's just the work that we are supposed to do in pre-writing stage. And what is the third task? How you can just systematize your uh, understanding and your achievement. Write accomplishment oriented statements introduced by action verbs. Now, here action verbs are preferred because they show your achievement, because they show what you have achieved or done, rather than you tend to achieve or do. So action verbs, use action verbs wherever you need to, show some sort of accomplishment regarding you. Convey through direct language that you are active and produce results while targeting your achievements and skills to employers' needs. So show your employer that you are a doer, you can accomplish, you have accomplished. So you and the action verbs help us in that regard. Okay, first let's go with the do's, like what are the acceptable norms in resume writing. It should be consistent in format and content, make it easy to read and follow, balancing the white space, and use consistent spacing, underlining, italics, bold, anything you are doing for emphasis, or when you are just highlighting some part of your information, anything, but then you have to be consistent. If you are using bullet points, you have to use bullet points throughout your resume. If you are going to use italics to highlight a word or an expression, you are going to use italics throughout or the entire your resume, or bold or capitalization, whatever format you are choosing. uh, Usually we are free to choose the layout, we are free to choose the format for ourselves, but sometimes we should also focus on the norms of that organization or company, because they might have a separate set of formats or layouts for these documents. So first confirm about the pre-existing norms there. If they don't exist, if you are free to use, so you can use. Like there isn't, resume is a document with the versatility. This is a document where you can change, highlight, omit, or add information according to the purpose, according to the audience, and according to your preference. So list headings such as experience in order of importance. White headings list information in reverse chronological. We discuss about it that our recent qualification would come first in resume. avoid information gaps such as a missing summer. For example, if there are 2 years which you cannot show any achievement in those 2 years, so it would be a very negative impact in your resume. Be sure that your formatting translated properly if converted to PDF. If you convert it to PDF format, so it is consistent with what you intended to write in Word or any other software, so that it is not changed completely. It is still understandable and neat. Okay, so more on the list. Use the job ad as the starting point for collecting relevant keywords. Now see, I'll be showing you a job description, a job actually, that you are going to produce a resume in response to. Now, your starting point would be to analyze that job description. If you are successful at decoding that job description, what is actually demanded, what is actually required, if you are confident enough about that job ad or advertisement, and you can find out the relevant keywords, it is a high probability that your resume would stand out. Adapt the keywords for each specific job, because every time you will have to write a new resume, the previous won't work because the job description would change. So use the keywords in a specific context, check your spelling multiple times. And now we come to some of the don'ts that we have to equally take care of. So don't use or make overuse of personal pronouns like such as I. If you can say it in any other way, which does not involve the use of personal pronoun, it would be a wonderful, expression, because you show what you have achieved, and still you can't mention, your identity, your distinct personality. Don't abbreviate. If even you are abbreviating something, please give the full form for the very first time. And after that, if you need to repeat that experience or that abbreviation, it's okay to go along with that, because in the very first you have given its full form. Do not use a narrative style, that is, do not write in a storytelling style that since matriculation I have been an achiever, I was volunteer in social work. No, there isn't any use to any narrative style or storytelling style. Number or later categories, use of slang or colloquialism, just go for the vocabulary that is suitable to this field. You cannot use the quite familiar colloquial words that you can use while you talk to a friend. So the written language is totally different from the spoken one, and even in written language, the technical part, the technical language is highly specific, as we discussed in the very first slide, that it is specific, it's not general. Include a picture, you are not supposed to. You have to give your personal information in a resume, not a private information. So what is the difference between personal or private? Personal is like you can tell about your achievements, you can tell about your grades, about the schools you have attended, while the private information would relate to your age or sex. So don't include your age or sex in the resume anywhere. List references. You need not to list all the references. You can rather say that references are available whenever required. Okay, start each line with a date, but don't date the resume itself. Let's move. This is the job, okay? Doing the purpose, do's, don'ts, and everything about that is necessary to understand what a resume is and what is its function. If I ask you all, the participants of this session, that you have to develop a resume in response to like this job. So need fresh graduated engineers in electronic, electrical, or mechanical field. Now you can see the job details. By looking at these job details, if you can make a resume or even just an objective for this job, can you do it? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I think we are in a position up until now that we can think about, as we just had, we were up to this slide that we have to think about our experiences and compile data about ourselves. So looking or keeping these things in mind, can we make or can we just start the resume by looking at this job description? Suppose you are a fresh graduate and you are going to get an internship and in any company, and for that you strongly recommend your skills and experiences that you had during your study period, and now you want to stand out, now you want to achieve that internship, and you could see the number of hires for this role is just 3. So you have to work hard towards this goal because it's only 3 candidates, maybe out of 2 to 3 batches and even more. So only 3 candidates are to be taken for this internship. So if I just ask you to think about some of the experiences and achievements during the 4 years on campus, can you do it? Can you just write about experiences and achievements, your personal achievements? Right now only this personal experience description is needed, then we'll definitely give some shape to your data. Okay, there is a candidate, Hans Raj, who says yes, I'm able to do that. Okay, Noor also says that's wonderful. I just want to see that we have to practice it out today. We have to do it. Okay, we have to practice it. So for that, we need to put together the pieces of puzzle, the pieces that are there that you have achieved. It's your achievement. Now it's just time to complete the picture, to put it in their respective slots. Okay, so I give you 10 minutes would be too enough, but yes, I can say 6 minutes so that you can write about your experiences and achievements. Is that okay? Please let me know. Okay, so some of the students are saying that due to the COVID pandemic, they couldn't achieve much. It's not only that you can achieve while you are outdoor, you can also have some online courses. See, this very conference is being held online. So there are different things that you can do online, that you can undertake the courses online. It is still part of your achievement. We are not going to talk about whether a resume is written in a paragraph form or not. For now, you are just asked to list down the experiences or the achievements that you have had during these 4 years. Yes, any type of certification you can aid. Any distinction, honors, awards, anything. I suppose you are all on the task. We are not wasting time. Okay, 3 minutes more to go. Are we done? You can let me know by unmuting your mic. You can unmute your mic when you want to speak. So it becomes an interactive session. Yes, moderator, can you please guide the students to whosoever wants to talk, please can unmute the mic.
If anyone of you want to ask questions or say anything, he or she can raise hand.
I just want to know about whether we are done up to this stage, whether you have listed down your experiences so that we can move along. Okay, I think we should move on. It takes a lot of time. You can go back to this section and then check out for the improvements. Okay, now as I just told you that there are 3 stages to writing any document. That is pre-writing, writing, and the post-writing. So first of all, what we have to focus at is the pre-writing stage. If we settle our scores here in this stage, we can move with success. So what is pre-writing stage about? What the task you just did. Okay, so the type of experiences you just thought about and listed down, however, in a random way, it doesn't matter, we'll give shape to it. But that was pre-writing, that was thinking about reflecting on your achievements, and that is the most important part. Now, after doing that, we move to analyzing your background. Now, like what sort of jobs you have done, or what sort of achievements you have, so that you can put it into a form. Now, in preparing to write your resume, determine what kind of job you are seeking. Then ask yourselves what information about you and your background would be most important to a prospective employer. Now, see, I gave you one description. Okay, it had some job details like salary and job type, and even the criteria, like only 3 candidates would be chosen, and the contract length, that is for 3 months. Okay, now keeping these things into your mind, you can think of that what kind of experience or achievement would suit this job. Though you might have listed quite various like random things over there, it won't have any shape. So now you are going to look through it and decide for yourself that while looking at the job description, which of the experiences are relevant to this job description and which should be omitted, which shouldn't be part of your resume for this job. So now you are going to sort it out. In a way, you have to pick and choose for some items and leave other items behind. What else? How can you do that? schools you have attended, degrees you hold, or your major field of study, academic honors, grade point averages, particular academic projects that reflect your best work. So you have to go for this as well. Okay, jobs you have held, your principal and secondary duties in each job, when and how long you held each job, promotions, skills you developed in your jobs that potential employers value and seek in ideal job candidates, projects or accomplishments that reflect your important contributions. Now, what is meant of this short paragraph? If we say that we are only describing our experiences in our resumes or CVs, whenever we write them, we just tell our employer that we have done so and so, but we don't have to tell it, we have to show it. As you know, the employer might understand something more about our personality, like how we went along this task, how far we were successful, what were the results produced. So looking in that particular way, you are going to talk about your principal and secondary duties in a particular job. It's not important that you held a job for 1 or 2 years. It's more important to tell what did you do, what did you achieve, what were your results and duties like in that job, while on that job. Okay, and this all would be the part of your background. Next, other experiences and skills you have developed that would be of value in kind of job you are seeking. For example, leaving the job material aside, you can also think of. May I continue, moderator?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am,
ma'am.
you may.
So now that would be about your job material, but there is still something more to our personalities to orient ourselves in front of our employer, like extracurricular activities that have contributed to your learning experience, leadership, interpersonal and communication skills. That's not only technical part, that's also non-technical part to your resume or to your CV. For example, you can also talk about some communication skill courses, okay, or what did you actually achieve in those courses. So or maybe employing the concepts in some communication, you led an organization, you led a team somewhere, so the results and the team achieved its results. So you can mention your interpersonal and communication skills you have developed, or any collaborative work you have performed, computer skills you have acquired. So this you are going to brainstorm to put on the paper to analyze your own background. And though it looks very easy, that it's about me, all about me, and I can write well about myself, it's equally tricky. So, for beginners, it's even more challenging, but no need to worry. After some efforts, it would be a second nature to you. You will definitely think in terms as it is required. Okay, now we come to the third important part. After the purpose and after the groundbreaking part that was analyzing the background, we have analyzed what we have achieved. We have listed it down. Some of it you have done right now. And now we are going to organize our resume. Like we are going to give shape to it. So how can we do it? A number of different organizational patterns can be used. I just told you earlier that resume is highly versatile document. You can change it in any way you want. I'll be showing you some samples of resumes that would that you can think of, that there is a versatility about it. You can change its shape, its size, and you can put things of your interest, but if they are meaningful in any way. So the following sections are typical, that are fundamental to any resume which you choose, should depend on your experience and goals, the employer's needs, and any standard practices in your profession. For example, there must be a heading which will include your name and contact information. There would be a job objective and a qualification summary. Now we'll be understanding in detail about every heading here. But yes, job objective and qualification summary are the things you can interchange, like, or you can put one at the place of the other, and how the decision would go, we'll come to know. Education, employment experience, related skills and abilities, honors and activities, finally, references and portfolios. So this is the general organization of any resume. Okay, heading. If you look at the heading, so at the top of your resume, include your name, address, telephone number, home or cell number, and a professional email address if you have one. As a student, you would also have some student accounts, so that you can use those students' account in your resume. It's better to show that professional or university account more than your personal one. Okay. So, and what else? Make sure that your name stands out on the page. If you have both a school address and a permanent home address, place your school address on the left side of the page and your permanent home address on the right side of the page. You can see it from one sample. Okay. So there is a candidate, Anna Maria, and you can see how she has given two addresses. One is her campus address and other is her home address. So now, by now we know that campus address is to be put on the left side and home address on the right side of the page if you want to mention both addresses. Is it clear? Or am I going too fast? Yes, attendees. Are we all clear up to this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then we move to job objective. Now, this is, you can say, a short summary about what you want to achieve, who you are, and what you have to offer for your employer. So I may read from it. It explains who you are offering, what you are offering, and what you are looking for. So these three questions mushed together make your objective, your job objective. And an objective introduces the material in a resume and helps the reader quickly understand your goal. For a minute, I stay here for a minute. I'm being distracted by the type of activities some students are doing on my slides. So I would like to call the moderator if you can please stop the activity of these students. I ignored for a while, but there wasn't any limit to it. Yes, moderator, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. We are working.
Please control these sort of activities. This is not something professional. I'm unable to continue along this presentation.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry. Now, ma'am, continue, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Okay, so what sort of objective you are going to include if you decide to include an objective? Now you have choice. Either you can include quality, if you can include your qualifications, or you can include objective. Now, what is qualification summary and objective and how they are different? We can see here that your objective would look like, for example, if we are going to write in this way, some electrical student mentions three types of objectives for a particular job. For example, electrical engineer with exceptional problem solving shooting skills. This is becoming nastier now. I can't see the slide.
Ma'am, can you please screen share again? Changed the setting. Can you please screen share your screen again?
Yes, I'm doing it, but you should have controlled these things. This is very embarrassing indeed.
Yeah, ma'am. Very sorry for the inconvenience. Kindly
Or
check
we
the
can
email
end the
if you're not
session
getting it.
if this if
No, no, no,
that
no.
is the case.
No, no, ma'am. Please continue. Ignore these all. Sorry for the inconvenience.
I'll change the setting, ma'am.
It's not about my inconvenience only. It's all, about the attendees over there.
We are really sorry, ma'am. Please continue.
Okay, give me a minute. So we were discussing about job objective and summary qualification, and we have to include only one. Either we can go with job objective or summary qualification. Now we'll be seeing the difference, but for example, if you are going to go with a job objective, how it would look like. For example, electrical engineer with exceptional problem solving and troubleshooting skills, seeking a position in which these skills can be utilized and enhanced for the betterment of company. Now, please go through it again, read it again, and let me know whether this job objective is has clarity and it meets whatever is required in a resume, the requirements itself. So, can you go through it? Give it a single read and let me know whether it shows something about your achievement or something you are telling to your potential employer. Is it descriptive or is it technical? This is what I want to ask. Yes, attendees. I think you haven't done the proper setting and it's being repeated. It's being there. Okay, there are some responses from students. So whether it's technical or whether it's non-technical, it's just tails. It doesn't show anything. Okay, so majority of the students go with technical. Okay, if I happen to ask you your position, justify your position, what is included in it that is technical to you? How would you justify your opinion? Yes, attendees, what do you think? Why it's technical? You can also talk. Don't write just in the chat. Make it an interactive session. You can talk about it. What makes it technical?
Ma'am, can you just note the names? They are popping up on your screen. I think they are the names of the candidates, attendees.
I couldn't read any name so far.
Ma'am, there was a person named by Abdullah, ma'am. He was doing it.
I'm not sure about it. The faculty might have a good idea about it.
Okay, Hansraj,
So-
thank you.
Yes, nearly every student names Abdullah Mehman. So it depends on the faculty whether you can just unmute him or make proper changes to his response.
Ma'am, can you just repeat the name?
We have removed that name.
Students are suggesting Abdullah Mehman here.
No, ma'am, I have cleared all the innovations. Now you can continue.
Okay, so most of the students' responses were about that it looks like a technical one, a technical description. My next question was, how did you come to know? What signals technical in it? Yes. Anyone from this session who can just talk about the job objective here? It's very important to stay and discuss this.
Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Walaikum salam.
Ma'am, because he is mentioning here that he can solve the problems like problem solving means any technical problem occurs in any company, then he can solve. So he is mentioning his skills. That's why it's technical.
Okay. Can we have another student?
Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Walaikum salam.
Yes, I quite agree with the first attendee. The keyword here is exceptional problem solving, and I think as an engineer, as a technical, graduate, it's a key. It's a very vital skill for someone to have. Employers who are employing engineers, the primary objective, I think, is to find excellent problem solving skills with analytic skills. So I think it is a technical skill to have.
Okay. If there isn't any other response, we can continue. Okay, now see, yes, you might have noticed these key words, for example, problem solving and troubleshooting skills. Maybe I just highlight it in red that one of the key word in this job objective is about problem solving and troubleshooting skills. And you might also have noticed these words or verbs, the use of action verbs, okay, and two job objectives. So you might had a feeling that it is technical, but it lacks one thing that I have been, talking about it again, that it shows what you are capable of. It just tells what you are capable of. It doesn't show your results, your achievements. It doesn't show that you have achieved or done something, isn't it? Go for a next read, please. Okay, so let's move. I may request 10 minutes extra to the moderator if I'm allowed to.
Yes, ma'am. We can give you more 5 minutes.
So I have to stop at 4:05. Okay, while the session has also started somehow 3-4 minutes late, but okay, I'll try my best to complete it with time. So the second approach is about summary of qualifications. I just told you that we can have only one thing in a resume at one time. So qualifications focus on what you have achieved, okay? What are your qualifications? And it is like when you want that your qualifications are highly, you can say that they have a merit and they can win you that job, that can win you that scholarship, and they should be at the top of your resume. That should be the first focus of your employer. So you don't go with objective and you put your qualifications first. Now it's just the matter of your priority, what you want to bring to the focus of your employer. Okay, let's move quickly. Okay, in education, what you are supposed to do, you have to list down the schools you have attended, the degrees you received, and the dates you received. Okay, and your major fields of study and any academic honors you have earned, so that they may just back up your resume. Include your grade point average only if it is above or it's 3.0 or higher. If it's somehow not 3, it's even below it, you are not going to achieve the exact figure, for example 2.8 or 2.9, because it would have a negative impact. You can justify your grade point average when you are offered an interview. If you are lucky enough to get an interview, you can there, by your interpersonal skills or extracurricular skills, you can impress the employer there. But if it's 3, you can include it. Okay, then your employment experience, again very specific to the job description. And if you have experiences on the field and some other extracurricular experiences, you can put 2 headings within the experience part, that is experiences, and you can have an other heading that would name other experiences or professional experiences, to cater to the experiences that are not of an academic nature. Okay, then quickly moving to your related skills and abilities. So employers are interested in hiring applicants with a variety of skills or the ability to learn new ones quickly. So now what you tell about yourself would also have a tinge of your personality. It would also tell a great deal about your personality, like what sort of person you are. It's not about what sort of student you have been, but it also would highlight what sort of person you are. So try to include the skills and the abilities which show your positive side, which show that you can achieve much more on the ground. Okay, honors and activities, if you think are related to the job description and would highly gratify your resume, you can include honors and activities, and in the end, references and portfolios. So you are not actually going to list down the references in the resume. You would only signal at it that these are available if required. Okay, and likewise the portfolio, it's the compiled documentation of your employer's copy of awards and certificates or anything of distinction you have earned. So you can also tell about your portfolio that it is available on request. Okay, now quickly moving to the types of resume, we have 3 main types, that is chronological resume, functional resume, and combined resume. The difference is simply with chronological resume, you will have a timeline, a strict timeline in your resume, and that is preferred in academia. While the functional resume, it's just you can say a mixture of all the skills of all the jobs that you have performed, but that are in no way related to the job description. So functional resume are preferred when there isn't when there are gaps to your achievements, when there are gaps to your next higher qualification. For example, you might have not attended any single conference or any single activity during 3 years, and you cannot justify those 3 years in that for example chronological resume. So you will like to go with functional resume. Combined resume has the advantages of both of them, and it is there. It accentuates the functional and the chronological side. Now we come to the last part of today's session is about what sort of language we should use, because all the things we have discussed so far tended to belong to your technical side. Now we come to the writing side. So a resume will have an expression, a language, and how that expression should be. So coming to it, we discussed in the very start that we are going to use action verbs, achieving language, and resume writing that describes what you have contributed rather than what you have done on a daily basis. See, there are 3 examples. For example, 3 sentences in passive voice and their active voice is already presented here. Now see the difference. For example, I may read the very first sentence for you. A 20% revenue growth was realized in our department over 2 years. It's better to say my team realized 20% revenue growth over 2 years. So it should have some achievement. It should tell about some result than the mere description. Okay. Which action verbs are most effective? The only time passive voice is appropriate is when you want to draw more attention to the results instead of yourself. Now, this is a general rule with language as well. We tend to use passive voice when we focus on the results or we focus on what is being said about the subject, and we tend to choose active voice when the subject is our focus. So likewise in resume as well, when the results are to be focused upon, you will go for passive voice, but that is rarely a case. Mostly we own the results. We say that we are achievers of those results. So active voice is more preferred. Here are some verbs for resume writing. You can go back to these slides after the session and look for the different words related to different fields. Okay, now the last thing is about make your resume shine with achievements, so that you can ask yourself 3 questions. Can anyone perform this function? Is this the standard run-of-mill description? Did any results come from this action? These 3 questions will lead to a positive and highly effective response. You can see the achieving sentences, how they look like. Doing, for example, responsible for inventory control and ordering products. While achieving is optimize inventory by monitoring for product shortages and ensuring efficient service use. Now that is the thing when I just gave you to read the objective description in the very first slide, that what is the problem with this? It only shows, it does not achieve anything. So the same thing is being repeated here, how we can convert or how we can change the doing to achieving level. Okay, that's it for today. Any question, anything? Or I would like to show you some sort of resumes written for different purposes, but then you can see in this resume there is the qualification part. So qualification is preferred, and definitely someone with a great experience would go for this sort of resume, because if you have distinct qualifications, if you have some awards, some honors, okay, so you can go for qualifications. Otherwise objective is good. For the fresh beginner, objective is good. Then you have your education part, you have your clinical internship, something you want to tell more about your achievements. And look at this one. This is the thing that I told you, that in resume you have a space for the layout, for the language, and for organization. You can see this has used the effective graphic design examples, because this is a resume of a graphic designer. So he has implicitly shown all his skills into his resume, so that the employer might see the skills in practice, the skills in form. And now I'm going to show you the third one. See, this resume has an objective included in it, a management position in the aerospace industry with the responsibility for developing new designs and products. Now, if you go for this, you can highlight your specific experiences. It depends on you. If you are a fresh graduate, you would definitely focus on education first in your resume, because you don't have much experience in the field. But when you are an experienced one, then you can put your specific experience in the very first, in the start of your resume, education later, and any other professional affiliation or references in the end. So I hope I'm clear by now. This was all for today. Thank you very much. Any questions? Any suggestions? You are welcome to.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Ma'am, are there any platforms where we can online where we can write resumes and CVs, and there's a computer generated program that checks our resume of like, or there are people in the background who can check our resume so we can practice our resumes.
Yes, there are a lot of them. There is, there are plenty of these platforms where you can just put your information or data over there. They would ask you some data, you'll put it, and they'll have a layout for you, a full-fledged resume for you. But what is the drawback to this approach is that they are mechanically, devised. They just tend to receive the data and show it likewise, while you are there to personalize the document. You are there to put the words, to give it a shape, as I just showed you the CV, the resume of a graphic designer, that he has used different colors, different schemes to show you that he knows much about graphic designing. So if you don't personalize it, if you don't own it, and you go for a software, the software will have same results. It won't own your document. It would do it for any document in any way. So you are going to personalize it. It's better to give some time to yourself, to your academic qualification,